Oi, oi! Welcome back to Pommyinoz. I hope we're all doing really well. I hope we're enjoying ourselves. Sean the Sheep here, Pommyinoz. And obviously doing it for Doc. Got a new lid. I'm not too sure about it. Very shiny, isn't it? Well, anyway, without any further ado, what we're doing today is we're doing my top 10 for the John Nicholls medal. I will be live with Big Tez on Thursday. We'll be doing a watch along with it. Before we start that, though, bit of an announcement. We have a new member, Big Byron Issa. Cheers to you, mate, joining the Pommyinoz family. He's our first member as well. So really appreciate that. If you do want to join, there is a membership description below. So that'll be grouse. Also, in other news, Poms gone rogue and started a business. In the link as well, me and my beautiful wife, we're doing some graphic design and we're doing sporting prints. So we've started with a few AFL ones. So have a chat there. There will be NBA, there will be EPL, there'll be some rugby, there'll be Olympics, all sorts going up in the next couple of weeks. So please support that. That is a little venture we're doing. I'm super excited about it. Let's get into the video. Top 10 BNF for this year for Carltons. So in at 10, gone Big Bam Bam. I've really enjoyed Bam Bam's year, and I think what was really important about Bam Bam this year is he had that shorter contract on the rookie deal, and he really earned it, and he was a key cog in the games that he played this year. He really did cement that, and he'll be one of the guys in these 13 games, especially with his second half of the season form, who's really found a position, and I think he's going to be putting a lot of pressure on players, and I think that'll be his niche. He'll be like, you know what, I can do this job. He's going to be holding people accountable. He gives Voss some great defensive options. But I think he was the 10th most important player this year. So in at 10, I'm going to give it to Bam Bam. I was really impressed. And he really does personify for me what this football club is about. Hard work and endeavour. And that was what he brought us. In at 9, and this might shock some people, Big Doc. We're doing it for you, mate. I think, for me, he played well enough to be in there. I think before he got injured, he was arguably, in my opinion, one of our top 5 on the ground for most of the games. Did get a bit loose towards the end, but for me, he was he was so dominant early. He was really easily one of our better accumulators and the guy who made things happen. And I think it's probably detriment to our system and how bad we were last year that a guy that's only played half a year is in 10 and 9 in Kennedy and Doc. But, I mean, there it is. Let's hope next year with Vossi, it's going to be a little bit harder. In at 8, and I like this guy's year. Some people criticised it. I was really impressed with Adam Saad. I thought, in my opinion, Saad really did earn his stripes towards the year. They had no idea how to use him for the first 8 games in the year. No one had told David Teague or any of the line coaches that a running halfback genuinely wants the ball in motion. He spent half of his time acting like Cade Simpson, and he's the opposite player of Cade Simpson. Once they worked that out, which took him a wee while, he was really good. And there was no fault of his own, in my opinion. It was mainly structure, and no one had realised that a line breaker, you want to break lines. You don't want to be fanning about locking players down. So, in my opinion, he gets 8th in the Pommy's best and fairest. I enjoyed his year. In at 7, J-Sauce, the art and soul, they call him. Weird these. I can't wait, just incidentally, until they re-release these. That's so hard to do. Reverse, isn't it? God, that's so weird. Black my head. When they've all got shaved heads, and it's going to be really hard to tell them apart. J-Sauce, I thought was brilliant. Again, another guy that really personifies what I want to see from my football team. A guy that ain't going to go out on the radio and be like, oh, I'm a midfielder. Oh, I'm a ruckman. Oh, I'm a forward. Oh, I'm a third forward. He's just going to do his job. He's going to shut up and do his job. And that's what I love about J-Sauce, because wherever you play him, he gives you 110. And he's one of us out there. And that's what I love about J-Sauce. He's one of them guys that no matter how shit we are, he makes me happy in it, because he's just that integral type of player. And I'm really happy with J-Sauce. He's in it. In at 6, we've got the legend that is Ed Curnow. And Ed Curnow, again, another guy that really personifies grit, determination, hard work, go again, second and third efforts. He'll do any role for this football club, as he was shown in the last part of the year when we played him in the forward line. I think he's still got a role to play in that forward line of bringing that pressure, bringing that technique, bringing that intensity and being a barometer and a measurement of forward pressure. And I think he deserves it. He's a consistent performer. He's a guy that probably doesn't get enough kudos. And if you were giving out these awards for pure effort, hard work, determination, endeavour, Ed would be top 2 every week for me. He's a solid player and I love Ed. And he will be one guy that I will get sentimental for when it comes time to retire. Number 5, mercurial captain, Patty C, as we're calling him. Patrick Cripps, he wasn't his greatest year, but I think people forget when you actually look at his numbers from a raw data point of view, it's near bad. There's a hell of a lot worse out there. I think that's more of a testament to how high he came off to where he is now. And I think under the right structure, the right tutelage, with someone who knows something about the midfield and midfield setup, I'm expecting this guy to fly. And you know what? Count Cripps at your peril, because Ollie Wines a couple of years ago, slow, doesn't really kick, doesn't really use the ball. The game's moved past him. Vossi took him under his wing. He's now a Brownlow medalist. And I'm not saying the same thing's going to happen, but I see similar facets in their game. And I think once Vossi takes this boy under his wing, gives him a pep talk, I think round 1, when you're focusing on Walsh, it could be the worst mistake you make. And I reckon Cripps will come back with a bang. And for me, this is the next guy in blue that's going to lift that freaking that trophy. And here he is. But Patty Cripps, with a mundane year, makes number 5. In at 4, Liam Jones. I love a bit of Liam Jones. And he's another guy that's really gives you what you see on the tin. He gives 110 every week. Really cemented that key position role. And I think it's interesting with Lewis Young coming in. A little bit of competition for him to try and keep him a little bit more honest. We know he does float quite a bit. Gives Vossi some options, maybe to play the 3 of them in when situations dictate that, but also it keeps him honest. And that's what we need, because at the moment, last year, these guys are very self-motivated, Jacob and him. But now they've got someone breathing down the neck, and it'd be interesting to see what happens should he have a bad game and Lewis Young really get some VFL form, because it's only going to make them better. If they know that there's someone breathing down the neck, we're going to see a lot about these gentlemen. We see a lot about them when the pressure's on, with no leadership. Now we've got leadership in place, better side. It's going to be interesting to see what happens when the pressure comes from internally. And I reckon Liam Jones is one of them guys that's going to flourish, really flourish. And I'm excited about seeing his development. And he's another skinhead. He was prior to this. So I like Liam Jones. He's 4 in my list. In at 3, I think it's hard to have a top 3 and not have a guy that took out the Coleman. Harry McKay, literally, I think he's a good reason to say that Carlton won games last year. It'd be interesting to see if David Teague had a forward line that his predecessors had, how that would have happened, because Harry was sensational at times and probably carried us at times with the next 2 blokes we're going to talk about. But Harry does unbelievable things. He'll be happy to see Charlie back, because I think that's going to take a bit of pressure off him. It's going to give him another target. It's going to give him a little bit less having to deal with 4 people on his own. But tremendous effort. It's great to see his improvement, his dedication. And I'm really excited about what next year brings with Mr. Chera in place. In at 2, Jacob Weitering. I reckon if there wasn't the guy who finished first, this guy is stonewalled. He personifies everything I like in a player. If he loses, he comes back harder. He never gives up. Nothing's too difficult. He always gives what he gives, and I rate that from him. I'm a huge, huge Jacob Weitering fan. And for me, you're looking at a guy that I think when we do a team of the year, a team of the century in 2100, when I'm long dead and buried, this is the bloke that will be mentioned. I reckon this bloke will be in that key position player. He is a phenomenal talent, and he's only going to get better, and he's one of my favourite players. And no guessing who win this one, eh? Sammy Walsh. What a legend he is. Absolute mercurial year. It was phenomenal from start to finish. run out of superlatives for this guy. This guy is something else. We are witnessing a generational forward before our very eyes, a generational midfielder before our very eyes. And being fortunate enough in EPL, in soccer, to see players that gain legendary status, being a young man, I didn't really appreciate what I was witnessing until it was too late. Nice being a bit older, 35, 36 in 2 weeks' time, seeing this develop before my very eyes. He's a phenomenal talent. Phenomenal talent. And I reckon we're at basement level readings from Sammy Walsh. He is phenomenal. And I reckon we have this conversation. I would be very surprised to see him not be number one 7 out of the next 10 times we do this. An absolute jet who will be rubbing his hands with glee to see Chera and Hewitt come in, because that just means more numbers for Sam. An absolute phenomenal talent. In my opinion, he is the best in the league. That's the video then. We have got Sammy Walsh print as well, spreading our love. So please check out that website. Give it some love and support. There is no obligation, but it is something that I'm very passionate about and I've been working hard. I hope you enjoy it. Until next time, Pommy out.